Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian report for the 11th of December. This chart here is a daily chart of the Australian banking sector, the XXJ, and what I'm kind of looking for here is that looking for 5 waves to the upside here. So from the GFC here, 1 and 2 and 3, and then an A and a B and a C here for wave 4. And then up for 1 and back for 2 here, and then heading up higher into wave 3, 4 and 5, heading up here higher. Of course, this bigger pattern too could also be an A wave down to here, an A and a B and a C for a B wave up here, and then coming down for a C wave here, but I don't think that's the case. But either way, this move up through here, I want to compare this to CBA because CBA's got the same sort of pattern here. Well, CBA is one of the banks that have pushed up much higher above this high here, where some other banks have struggled. So this ABC here is good, and then we're just looking up here for this move up here. So what I want to do here, and I've mentioned this before, just opening this up here into the daily chart here, is looking at this from this high here, looking at this as an A wave down here, because we're looking for an A and a B and a C wave here. So with this particular structure here, we're looking at, say, the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave down here. We know the C wave's in 5 waves, so we can look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, and then this is all of the third wave here, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So this would be the 4th wave here, coming back up. So from this high here, we can look at this rallying either to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, which is quite high, or to the 38.2% retracement level. So somewhere in here, we're looking for a simple ABC structure in here. We've got the first leg in here already, and then we'll be looking for, which is the A wave, then the B wave, and then the C wave here. And then once that's done, we'll be looking for 5 waves down, and the 5 waves down should be roughly the same length as wave 1 here, because the extension's in wave 3 here. So with this here, we know that the 6,500 is a medium level, so somewhere down in here. So we've got all this to go here for this. Okay, of course this is an index and it gets led around by the banks, and some of the banks, with any sector, there's banks that are leading, and then there's the follower, and so on. So they're all at slightly different stages, but this here just points out that this is where the whole sort of sector is at this particular stage here. So what we need to do at this point is, once this is basically finished here, then we need to work out, we need some evidence at that point. So what we need to see is we need to see a move up here. And that move up, we need to see it in 5 waves here, and then that will pull back 50 or 60%, and then we can go long on most of the banks at this point. But of course, like I mentioned, some banks will already be leading this higher, and they're the ones that we want to have a look at, and that's what we'll look at today with CBA. So this is kind of, coming to the end of this particular structure here. We need to see it turn. We need to see this wave here in 5 waves and not 3 waves. And looking for, because if it's 3 waves, then we're going to see a bigger picture to the downside, and then we have to turn bearish in this whole pattern here. But as it stands at the moment, it sits quite nicely as an A and a B and a C wave here, and then up for 1 and back for 2, nearly finished and got. But if it continues to move down, well then we've got to look at a bigger bearish picture. But looking at this here, with CBA here on the monthly chart, with wave 3 here, wave 4 here at the GFC, and then 1 and 2 had a really nice, move much higher than the actual index did above this 3rd wave here. So it had a really nice move up here, then an A and a B and a C here. So so now we're looking, in a nutshell, we're looking for a move up into this particular space here. and we can go in and have a bit of a look at that in some detail here. Just go to the weekly chart here. So picking it up from the low of that wave 4 there, I believe that we have a wave 1 and 2 here, then wave 3, and a triangle pattern in here for wave 4, and then up for wave 5 here, and then an ABC pattern here for wave 2, and then up for wave 3. So this will be the leading bank to the upside here. I mean, obviously there's Macquarie and there's insurance companies and so on, but those insurance companies are not in the banking sector that we just looked at. But the XFJ, which would have the insurance companies in it, they have the same pattern as well. So yeah, look, this is where we are with this, and obviously this is going to work with the XJO as well, the indices. So it's good to understand this, and also the materials sector. Perhaps we'll have a look at one of those shortly as well. So on the daily chart, and just pulling this apart here, this wave 4 here, it looks a bit like this here. So from the top here, we've got wave 3, an A wave here, a B wave here, a C wave here, a D wave here, and we're looking for an E wave here. Not that it has to hold on top of the trend line either, just pointing out the pattern, but it can break that and so on. So I haven't pulled apart D to E here. So it might, looking at the banking sector, there might be a bit more to go. So you know, things get smaller. So this first leg is quite big, isn't it? Then this one, and then this was quite bigger than this one. Really simple. The guideline of alternation, I guess. So, but still, this one here compared to even this one here, they normally diminish at 61.8% generally, but you can see how many days this has taken here and how short this one is here. So there's probably more to you know, there's probably more to come in this space here for this, but we're coming to the end of it, so we will tune into it, and as a stock trade, we'll look to trade this to the upside in due course, along with perhaps some of the other banks as well. The XMJ, the materials sector, we'll just have a quick look at that while we're here. I'll tell you my problem with this one here, this top area here. We've got 5, this is the daily chart, the XMJ, materials sector. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So then I think what we've got here is an A and a B and a C wave up here. So I think that this is corrective, and then that leaves us with this other move down here of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So I'm wondering if this is the A wave, the B wave and the C wave, and finished here, and then we're looking 1 and 2 and 3, ABC for 4 and up for 5. So we've got this impulse wave here. So it's possible that we've got this up as 1, then an A and a B and a C wave for wave 2, and then up higher from that point. But the other flip side to this that we need to be mindful of is that the 5 waves here can just be the A wave, and then an A and a B and a C wave here, and then down for 1 and back for 2, and then, you know, moving down lower in here, another whole 5 waves in here. So this hasn't resolved itself to a point where we have enough evidence to move this way or that way on it. So we're just going to chill on this one for a moment, and of course Rio and BHP are in this particular box as well. So we need this to play out a little bit further before we understand where we are within all of this one. Alrighty, moving along. So with the ASX here, I'm unsure about the bigger count, as I may have mentioned before. It's possible that we've got a B wave here and a C wave here. And then we're looking for a move up into the box. So we've got that, and we were looking at this, trying to figure out if it was going to be 3 waves or 5 waves. It appears to be 5 waves. So then we thought, well, it will pull back to this box here in 3 waves, and then it will give us another 5 waves to the upside. And the interesting thing here, if this is going to be the case, is that that takes us it takes us quite a bit above the 61.8% at that at that stage. So you know, we can look to go long in here. So we just need to figure it out a little bit. So it hasn't pulled right back to the level that I wanted to, but the point here is that it has moved quite close to it, which is sometimes not good enough. But secondly, what interests me the most is that the move down through here is in 3 waves. Now, if this was a wave 1 up here and this is a wave 2 here, then we would have a simple ABC pattern here. Okay, if it's an A wave up here and then we're looking for a B wave here, then a C wave here, it's okay for the B wave, but it's a bit small for a B wave because it would normally get a little bit bigger. So then it would be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave coming back into this space. So then it brings us down to the point that, well, can we get 5 waves in this particular sequence here? And then that pulls back. So that would be our, you know, our evidence to the upside if we can get 5 waves in this little structure. And then we can look to go long from that point. The stochastics here, just basic settings, has pulled back down nicely and given us a bit of a signal here as well. Not that we rely on that much, but it's a bit of a guide stick in helping count the waves as such. So yeah, drilling in here to the hourly chart and looking at this. So as you know from yesterday, we were looking at 1 and 2, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here for the 3rd wave and 4th wave, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So it's actually quite a nice structure, all of this here as a 5-wave structure. And then we've got here, we've got that very clear B wave here as well. So yeah, this is in 3 waves thus far. I mean, it could be down for 1 and back for 2, down for 1 and back for 2, but I doubt it because it's moved up quite high here. And that can go to the 20, this can go to the 10. So we need to drill into this particular space here. So just before we do that though, this top here and this low here, that puts us in that 61.8% here, and that's why we're getting that market stalling there in that space. Okay, that's why it's stalling there. But we could say that even if, let's just say that we struggle with the wave count moving up here, we could say that, well, that's the 61.8% at 67.20. So that's also the resistance there as well, isn't it? And it's also met supply over here as well. So it's being pinned to that particular price point. And we could say, well, if that became the support, then we could go along from that point. So support would be that it would need to move up like it has done here before, but failed a little bit when it's come back. So it needs to sort of needs to sit there, and then it goes up from that point, you know, so it becomes that support there. Then you've got yourself a long trade at that point because, you know, if we've got 5 waves here, then we're going to get another 5 waves over here. At this stage, we just got to be mindful that we don't get caught out here in some other type of pattern at this stage. So that would leave us with this being a B wave here and a C wave over here and getting trapped there, you know. So this would be the A wave here, all of that, the A, the B, and the C. And if that was the case, then I would know that this whole move up here was just the A wave and then a B wave here and then a C wave to here. But at this stage, we could label this wave 1 here and back for wave 2 here at this point. Because if it was going to be an A wave here and a B wave here and a C wave here, that means that the first leg in the correction is in 3 waves here. So that's going to place it as a place this as a B wave over here. So I'll know that. So I know that we'll get 5 waves up here and then it will roll over from that point. Anyway, let's just go into the tick chart here and look at this a bit closer. So this is what I was looking at here. So we've got the top of the fifth wave here, then an A and a B, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for 1, and back for 2, down for 3, back for 4 and down for 5. So that fits all quite nicely there. And here I was looking at this being wave 1 here and wave 2 here, wave 3 here, and ABC for wave 4 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for wave 1 here. Wave B's coming nicely there, so that's cool. And yeah, so an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for wave 2 to pull down, and then to the upside. So it's looking quite positive actually. So that means that we should be able to go long on support or the high of this B wave here at the 6720 here. So yeah, I mean, you could probably pick it up down here as well, and do the same thing again. But this will, from B to C here, should be in 5 waves, and it should be roughly the same length here. So it may not come all the way down here. I just thought it might come back to this area through here. We'll just have to see about that. But what we can do is take that top out for the long trade here. So just looking at that on the hourly chart. I'll just put it on the top there, but you kind of know where I'm at with that. So that would be the long trade at that point, or you could get a smaller position back here. But I mean, if I was doing it, then I would look for that move to come down here, and then I would look for, I'd take the top of that and the bottom of that and look for the 61.8%, and then gravitate over to the closest largest number, be it 10 or 20, and then look to go long on that. Or the other way to look at it is to see if you can get 5 waves up here in the first little move, and then there'll be an A and a B and a C back here, and then you can bring this one here, copy that down onto this one here on the B wave there, and then go up from that point there. And the other idea too is to basically build in, this is what group 1 is good for, is to build in the trade. So 10, 20 and 30 is where you keep building into, so you build up from that point, and then you let it go for the rest of the trend at that point. So you keep getting each one to close to break even, or at least getting your 0.5% risk down further, depending on your account size, your 1% risk, but keep halving your risk as you keep adding more contracts there. Okay, so just copy that there as we're looking at that as wave 1 here and wave 2 here coming into this space. The US hasn't been bullish overnight, so it's likely to see that wave 2 pullback. So we'll just got to wait to see what's in this space. Okay, Hong Kong and India. So with Hong Kong here, it does appear that the move that we've had back down through here is being corrective, as a 3-wave move here and up to here and back down to here. It might get bigger and uglier, but the main takeaway from here now is that the 26,500 here, if that becomes support or takes that top out there, you can go long from that point. You may get trapped here. There may be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 coming up here and clip you out there, and then have an ABC pattern here and then move up. So just be a bit aware of that and go onto here and then over to here as well. So you want a classic trading levels pattern sitting on the 26.5 here, rather than just taking it quite simple here. There's always room for refinement, and that's the way that you need to move forward. But just putting that on the top there gives you an idea what, where you need to be at that point. But once again, looking for 5 waves up here, a pullback here, and then up again from that point. And then that stop can come way up close here. Once that becomes the tested support here, then you can move your stop up. And India's doing what we expected, so that's nice to get a few things right. So just on the hourly chart here, don't need to go into a lot of big detail here, especially if you've been tuned into this market. So we know that the whole move down is corrective because we've got 5 waves in bit of housework. We've got 3 waves in this first move here as the A wave. So this is a corrective move. This is a bit dodgy, but taking that as wave B. And then, as you know, we've been working down for 5 waves here in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and moving down for 5 here. So we can have a look at this here, a bit more detail here. So looks like we've got one more move down here to finish that off. I got, oh yeah, that's cool. I would say that's 1, 2, has wave 3 finished? That's the question. We'll check that out in a moment. But once again, we're getting close to a low here to look to buy on as well. So I'm just assuming that's wave 4 there, but there may be another little move into all of that. Because, you know, normally I wait for the evidence, but because there's such a, you know, clear definition at the 11.8 there, you could buy on that number or very close to it for the bounce. If it moves down that far, it may not. So the 850 here is, it may just, let's have a look at this tick chart here. So it's just this last structure. So we're looking at this as being wave 1 here. It looks like an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So we can say that the third wave is finished, and I'll just take it from that point to this point here. So yeah, look, we're very close to the 38.2% retracement level as a retest of the 11,900. So we should have one more move down. Once again, because the extension's in the third wave here, wave 1 here and wave 5 here will be roughly the same. So I think that what we could do here is make a few assumptions here. So we should see a move down. It's either going to, well, it should take out the low. Probably be like this here. But that's the one that we want to go long on. This one here. But we'll just make that, so we don't stress out, just make that half a position on the low here. So it might not make it all the way down to where it was before. It may do, but what I'm trying to say here at the 11,850 is that we want the market to trade below the level. So coming down here, trading below it, then make that first high up, then come back and retest the demand, and then push up in that new high here. So trading below the level here is fantastic. And of course, we can also we can put a trend line across like that. But yeah, I mean, once this drops here, once that drops here, then we also want to be, you can see how strong that support is here. So obviously that's going to show up as resistance like it is now. It's just migrating down, just, you know, same as going long, but just short, coming back up and retesting supply and being forced down. So if this 11.9 here becomes the support again, this is the one that proves to us that the demand is coming back into the market at this time, because it's pushing through all of that supply there at that point. So yeah, keep that out of the way for a moment. Yeah, so being on this one here, support on this one. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.